Hi Anti-Society, welcome back to the Anti-Social Planet. Today we are checking out chapters 66 and 67 of Tower of Gods Season 2, and we are finally maybe starting the workshop battles. We had the game before this, the one-shot, one opportunity game that just finished up, which no one was really playing, at least not from like our main cast of characters. They were all just there to like fight each other and get revenge for various things that have happened so far, but finishing off that and going up into the Archimedes to possibly start the workshop battles. We had a little message that said that they were like starting or beginning or whatever, so we'll see how everything kind of works now that we're getting into this next arc of the story. And we had a pretty important moment that we ended off the last chapter with, which was Traveler may or may not have told Andorsi that this Violet person introduced himself as Bomb. So that's a whole thing that's now out there. We're gonna see how that goes. So there's a few things. There's a few things that are kind of up in the air as we transition into the next story, but some of the characters kind of reconnecting. We had like Wangnan and Teddy Bear seeing each other again. Prince and Misang are still with Shibitsu's team. It's a whole thing, guys. I want everyone to get along better, but here we are. So let's get into chapter 66 and get into what this workshop battle is really gonna be. Okay, what are we doing? How excited is Wangnan to be on this ship in Shibitsu? Now, don't say life is good. Something bad's gonna happen now. They keep doing that. They keep saying stuff. And I'm like, don't say that. You got the bad mojo out now. Oh, are these the people that had those? Who are they the ones who got the items? Maybe? I forgot that we didn't know who got what. Because there was like the special item that you could get, and then there were the two White Heavenly Mirror and Blood Tamara that were like three things that you could get. We didn't learn any of that yet. I like how one of them's just called Punk. Dang. It's a lot of zeros and it's cut off, which makes me think that there's a lot. Ooh. Hello? Is it just me, or does he have a very Penguin from Batman vibe? Which means he's a villain, so I don't know how I feel about that one. It's the smile too that's freaking me out. There probably is a lot of money. I just think of that. I'm like, there's some notable people in this one, so I'm sure there's a lot of money being poured into this. Their bets will influence the results. How? That makes me uncomfortable. Who's the teacher? Research. There's so many things being thrown out that I'm just like, what's happening? I'm uncomfortable. I don't want to trust you. No, trust is not what I feel. Okay. Oh, he works for someone. Good, good. There's someone scarier. Gotcha. We saw this before, didn't we? With whoever this like Maria is that was in the like the chatbot thing, but it's also something we've seen a couple of other times for different reasons. Emily. Sorry, what did I say? Emily. I meant Emily. Oh, good. The laughing. Probably not evil at all. It's fine. I don't like him talking about kids either. Okay. It's a very ominous beginning to all of this, but all right. Okay, a little orientation. First floor restaurants, rooms. Second floor pool. Third floor shops. Dang. Okay, we're not having to pay this time like before. See, Shibitsu not being intense and angry is far more enjoyable when he's like scary. I like how Anna immediately goes on the attack. She's just like, be nice. $10 says Les Lorraine. Just taking a nap as usual. It's like, how are we us getting along? Oh, I was just passed out, drool and everything. I like how Lorraine's just kind of been here, but not really part of the like plot. Like they include him, but he's just asleep like the whole time. I mean, you survived, so there's that. I was like, what does this shirt say? Brave man? I don't know if it counts if you have to like state it. Yeah, I feel like Endorsi's been like doing her own thing for a lot of this. Like she's like, I said whatever and I shot it. She's just like, and I'm done. I mean, I guess he does have two devils at his side. Yeah, she does not like to repeat herself. And also, she does not know how she's going to answer that question. I feel like before finding out about the possibility that Violet and Bob are the same person, she would have had like a great answer to that. She would have played up the part. But now she's like, leave me alone. Forbidden intruder jail. Wonder what it's for. Is she going to be like questioning him? Good question. There's a whole section of the ship that has intruders. Why? I mean, are we shocked that a princess of Jihad betrayed you to get what she wanted? Because that does not seem as shocking as he's making it appear. Just thinking they like aren't an intruder, I'm like, yeah, maybe he's not an intruder. Because he said an intruder on the Archimedes, and that's like not where he was. And we know that Endorsi will lie and manipulate to get what she wants, and he wanted to be on the ship, so maybe this was the deal. Gets them both on to the Archimedes, so Ah, we're here for Emily. Yeah, it's complicated. There's like a whole thing going on with the whole Emily thing. What a transition though, to just be like this intense reveal to be like Emily is indeed a person and is on the ship, and there's also some other nefarious things going on with like maniacal laughter and like shady behind the curtain deals and things, and then it's like the chaos of these two together. Is that a crocodile? So did Chibi Rak. Oh, look at him! I love him so much. He's just so angry and aggressive. We did have him like coming and finding Khun, so I love that he's just like a headache now for Khun to deal with. Look, Doom, yes, fear him. Those little feet. I love him so much. Chibi Rock was like the best thing that's ever happened to me because I loved Rock normal size. I was like, red. I'm like, which red? We have a few characters that wear red and stuff. Look, she does whatever she wants. Like, we're sitting here questioning why she would tell you one thing and then do the opposite. It's probably better not to question it. But keep her in the loop. She doesn't like when you don't do that. Just look how tiny. I'll never get over it. I don't want to get over it. The glares between them. They care about each other. Friendship. Aww. The whole thing that it's like them like glaring at each other, kind of facing off in their bickering way. Then we have this empty space with the important reveal, and boom. Completely changed expression, right? Like not making eye contact, a very different emotion being expressed. I love that like way that was paced. It's complicated, that's why he's hesitating. Oh, you know, I'm just thinking about how like Misang's not here, but she would love Rock. I feel like oddly Misang and I have like similarities. I don't know how to feel about that. She's like a child. Probably better not to analyze that one. Are y'all just like hanging out now? I was saying like, why are we here? And he's like, hello. I do not trust his. It will not hurt you. And I'm like, what's he like? He is a tiny ball of rage. Do we just get like thrown out of the room? Like I said, tiny ball of rage. Dinosaur. You're in front of Team Sweet and Sour and some unsavory extras. Just maybe we don't let rage have us say a bunch of things. I like how they're like, oh my gosh, somebody hit Khun. Rock knows, not fear. Oh, I was thinking, I'm like, the whole like, you can't do anything, like the emphasis of that. And then saying like, you always overthink things, and I get that. We're like, Khun, while he's very strategic and he's able to see lots of different angles to things, and that can be advantageous for him, it can also cause him to kind of be stuck, right? Because he doesn't know all the information. I feel like he doesn't want to do anything because he doesn't want to start enacting a plan without like some kind of incentive, which is why I think he works best under the pressure of like the tests and games and stuff, because there's a constraint to what he needs to know about and the people involved with it, right? Whereas like this whole thing of like, how do we deal with Foog and Jihad and going through the tower and all of the other people that are involved in that, every single one of the regulars going up, like there's so much information going on and so many different players in what's happening that Khun is like overwhelmed by the things that he's trying to know and understand and keep track of, whereas in the more like restricted form of like the tests and stuff, he's able to function a lot better because there's less variables for him to calculate. And I think also because it's Bomb, right? Like he doesn't want to make a move that might result in something happening to him again because he's already lived through that. He knows what that feels like and he doesn't want to risk it. And at the same time, Bomb's not exactly helping him. So I can get that, but also Rock's more of a throw someone through a door and then think about it later kind of a person, so he'll probably push things into some momentum. Oh, but I don't want us to hurt each other's feelings. Like, do you think I'm easy because I'm small? Just all the things happening in the back. Though points to Dan for just like walking in and fixing this, because Dan, he's the one here besides Rock who knows Khun even like a little bit. So I feel like he knows, one, like we want to break up a fight between our teammates, but also two, he knows that probably what Rock has said is actually going to affect Khun. Rock knows Khun so well that he knows what to say to get under his skin, and I'm sure that out of all the people here, Dan is the one who would be able to pick up on that the quickest. Maybe a little bit of Wangnam because he's empathetic and can read people a little bit when he's not being like chaotic and running around. You met him on a test floor about 30 levels ago. Yep, that is true. I mean, he literally had a whole team of friends and people that he trusted, and he left to make his own team. Like, he wasn't with Shibitsu and Endorsi and Anak and all of them. He wasn't with Rock, like, talking about him having to, like, sneak away to have Rock, like, not come with him. Like, there's so many things where Khun has kept people at a distance, and it's definitely because he didn't at one point. And like I said before, there's, like, because Bomb was this counter to what Khun already believed about the world and how people worked. To open himself up to that and then to lose Bomb meant that he was like proving that he was right to not trust people and to not open up and to not believe that people like Bomb can exist in the tower. So I definitely get why he would want to push people away, and that's like how he deals with it, because we got a similar thing with Dorsey. She's part of Shibitsu and the others team, but she keeps going off and doing things on her own and not sharing with them. So it's a similar thing of people who have had to deal with some of the pressures of the tower and being part of the like great families and stuff, that they have a very different view of what the tower is and how to deal with it, and they don't want to lose Bomb again if there's a possibility of having that. Oh, you have Bomb though. Best friends. And Rock. Best friends. Does he like jelly? He likes bananas. It's blue. He just swatted away. Yes, you want to be torched again. I just love all his names for like whoever what is. Yeah, there's a whole backstory. It's not good. I mean, like I was saying with the comparisons of like Dorsey, right? Like she found out really early on that like the only person she could rely on was herself, and that everything was a fight. And if you weren't strong enough, then you didn't deserve to have anything. And I feel like with Khun, it's more of a everything is double speak, right? Like people are constantly planning and scheming and there's layers to everything. And that's like how he functions, because that was the reality that he grew up in, with this like the politics of being in like the great families and stuff like that. So I get him like not wanting to have something that matters to him exposed to that, right? And like someone as pure as someone like Bomb, or like with his friends who didn't grow up in that environment, they don't see the world that way. He wants to like shelter them from that so that they don't have to think the way that he does, and also so that other people like don't get their claws into something that matters to him. Oh, I like how they're just calling him a dinosaur. I mean, I would also not leave Rock alone, I'm gonna be honest. If that was in my real life, I would be falling over myself about how cute he was. He'd probably be so frustrated with me, but you know what? The heart wants what the heart wants. It just loves little when it's like a spy drawing and he's just angry eyes. Just rests his little chin on the railing. He could be a sweetie too. I like how his whole thing about like why he's angry is he's like, because before he was like, why are you hesitating? And it had this like implication of it being, why are you hesitating about like not being with Bomb, not meeting up with your friends and all that kind of stuff. But it also translates to this where he's like, why are you hesitating to be happy? Like you can be happy, you're allowed to be happy. And he like can't understand why someone would think their way out of that, right? Because for Rock, he's very like instinctual, and he does things because that's what his emotions are like pushing him to do in that moment. He doesn't overthink anything. That's just like not how he works, even though he can be insightful. But that's like the world he grew up in, right? He talks a lot at the beginning about like being a hunter and that kind of a thing. So we haven't learned a whole lot about his backstory, but from like the way that he talks and his behavior, acting on instinct is like the way to survive in the environment that he grew up in. Whereas with Khun, again, it's you have to take a minute to think and pull back like 20 different layers of what someone is telling you to actually find what they're saying. So for him, if something makes him happy, he hesitates because he feels like he has to think through all of the alternatives of what would happen besides this being a good thing. It's a wonderful contrast between the two of them, like how they deal with things, but also they're friends. And I want them to just be happy too. I like that Rock is coming in as my representative to say like, why aren't we just being happy? Why are we overthinking this? I wonder if Rock's just gonna walk up to Bomb. Like out of all the people, all of the smart people on this floor that are like, I don't know, this, it's definitely VLA, but there's something about him. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. And then if like Rock just shows up like, you're definitely Bomb, like without any hesitation, I would find that so funny. Because he's just like, not gonna let his head take over. I also find it interesting before that we said like he was talking about jewels and like he doesn't wear them, where we have like his hands, which makes me think of like different jewelry and stuff for you, like rings and bracelets and things, especially for someone like Khun who's from like a prominent family, and a lot of the time you have like specific things that you wear for jewelry as a way of like showing wealth and power and status and that kind of a thing. He doesn't have any except like earrings, right? Like he has like very little that he wears in terms of like jewelry and accessories and stuff like that. So I find it interesting that like it does like kind of translate to when he finds something that he likes or that brings him happiness, he hides it away. Because I'm sure that he probably does have some amount of wealth in terms of like jewels and accessories and things like that, or could have it, and he just doesn't go that way. He's like, yes, let's fight things. And it's true. I like how he's saying like you're back to your old self, because before we had him like saying like, why are you overthinking this? Whereas like Khun now isn't in that place of indecision. He's like, this is what we're going to do. And it's not a full plan or anything like that, but it's an idea, and it's not like the defeated feeling that he had before where he was kind of treading water trying to figure out all of these things that were happening that he didn't know about. So now he's like, this is what we're going to do, and we're gonna get Bomb back. I think you did a little bit, but I also trust you. I don't doubt that. Khun is a scary person. Good transition. Oh, he has no idea what's coming. Nico Hotz is just like, I do not understand. It's true. Oh, I feel like that's so symbolic of like him needing to move on and be his own person and not have this thing from before he was in the tower and he'd done all these other things, and he'll become more of himself and have his own things that motivate him. The fact that he has to like let go of that. I'm a little bit nervous about him wandering off into like a dark alley place by himself. Just like it looks like a restaurant. Teddy bear, and also I think probably Casino, but who cares? Is that where we're ending? On like this ominous note? Okay. So getting a lot of like kind of orienting ourselves now that we're in this new setting and like the different floors and where people are at now after that last game as they're actually going into the workshop battles. I love obviously getting anything with like Rock in it anyway, but I love seeing Rock and Khun together because like I was saying, I feel like Khun really has been pushing people away because we haven't seen him regularly with his friends at any point. He's talked to Shibitsu and the others, maybe, mostly just Shibitsu, but like at a distance. He hasn't been with them, and no one on his team before was from like floor 1, so he has all of these friends here, but he's not actually working with any of them. And I love that it took Rock, who's one of like the original members, because we had the 3 on that like very first test that they took. It took having someone like him to kind of knock him into his senses and be like, what are we doing? Like, why are we overthinking this? Why are we hesitating? Why can't you just choose to be happy first? Like, why does it have to be all of these other things have to line up for you to be happy? And he's still kind of like, we have to do this and this and then we can celebrate. But I think him saying that is him kind of conceding to the fact that like he wants to be happy in a way. He just like doesn't really know how to do it. It's really hard to unlearn things that you have conditioned yourself to is like a survival tactic. I think we all have things that we did through like various parts of our childhood, however hard or wonderful your childhood may have been. There's just things that you did because it was how you survived within that environment. And it's not necessarily survive in like, again, awful things happening kind of context, but just a cultural context, right? Like, do you fit into gender norms or religious norms or what was kind of expected of you? Like, did you try to get like high grades because that was something that was expected of you? So that was like a survival tactic. Was it doing sports even though you weren't athletic, but you kind of got into the rhythm of doing that because it was something that fit with the culture that you were in? There's lots of things that you kind of condition yourself to fit in with where you had to grow up because you don't really know what else to do. It's a way of being praised, it's a way of fitting in, and then you grow up and you experience other ways of living and cultures and things like that, and you start to figure yourself out more, but it's hard to like undo those things that you have like conditioned within yourself. So even with Khun, you know, having this kind of strategic, you always say like multi-dimensional chess kind of way of thinking can be an asset to him. It's also a flaw because he can't turn it off because it's something that he needed to have 24/7 to exist in the world that he grew up in. So it's something that can hold him back in a lot of ways too. So I like that we got someone like Rock, who is very different, to come in and literally like throw him out of his stupor. And I like the other group members kind of not knowing what to do with who Rock is, but also like seeing the dynamic between them, because nobody talks to Khun the way that Rock does, and nobody knows Khun the way that Rock does. So I like seeing the two of them interacting, especially since they had a lot of stuff going on when Bomb was killed, in their opinion, right? Like, he was dead, and so that the 3 was now just the 2 of them. So I'm sure that they bonded a lot during that time, because even though they had made other friends on first floors, they went through the other tests and stuff, it's not the same as like that original team up of those 3. So I'm sure that they know each other in a much better way than anyone else, probably even than Bomb knows them at this point, because he's not been with them for a really long time. So I like seeing them interacting again. I love the kind of huge contrast between the two as we set up some more of what the workshop battles are going to entail, and a lot of like mysterious, unsettling things kind of brewing in the background. But you can click this playlist to go and see my previous reactions, or you can subscribe so this next time I post a Tower of God reaction, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!